Hey friends, it's me, and I am about to try to cook our supper for tonight, and I'm going to cook a pork chop dish. I've had my pork chops cooking this afternoon since about 11 o'clock, so they've been in there a good 6 hours. I cooked them on low, and so they ought to be nice and tender, and so I've got those ready to go. And so what I'm about to start doing is I'm going to make a cherry pork chop dish that uses olive oil, and it uses a little bit of cherry pie filling, and then it also uses balsamic vinegar, and it uses some onion. And so I'm going to get the onion rocking and rolling here for just a second because it's going to take it a little bit of time to saute. I've already had my skillet on, so you ought to hear a nice sizzle as that onion starts going. I chop my onion pretty thickly because my family, they don't love onions. I do, but they don't. And so anyway, I always make them big enough so they can pull them out. Many of you will understand my feelings there. But anyway, I'm going to let this just kind of saute for just a bit and get nice. And you want these to get nice and see-through and clear. And that's kind of how you know when this is going to be finished. I'm going to add a little bit of an ingredient because I forgot in the picture. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to add some garlic salt to this as well. I'm from Texas. I love garlic salt. I even put it in some dishes for breakfast, depending on what it is. I just really like the taste of garlic. And of course, salt is always a good thing to pair with sweet anytime you're cooking. So I'm going to kind of let that onion saute for just a little bit. This compote is going to make up pretty quickly. And so I think that it'll be working and kind of cooking over here as I talk to you a little bit about how much to use of the other ingredients. This is very easy. I used for the oil a 1 full tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Again, this is Kirkland brand. I get it from good old Costco if you have that around where you're at. And then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And then I just threw in a 1/4 cup of onion. Like I said, if you love onions, add more. My family doesn't, so a 1/4 cup will be great for us. And so I've got my 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar here that I'll add here in just a second. And then I have my cherries. Now I just used the Great Value brand of cherry pie filling for this particular supper time dish, but I'm going to use 1 cup, and just so you kind of know, what I'm working on here is going to make 4 servings, and so I used 1 cup of this because a 1/3 cup is 1 serving. Actually, I could go 1 more third. I probably will go ahead and do the cup and the 1/3 since I'll do that. I'll add that here in just a second. Don't want to leave one of my kids out. They love the cherries, and so a cup and a 1/3 here for 4 servings. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to pause real quick, and I'm going to come right back to you as soon as my onions. You know that this is kind of a process. Anytime you're cooking, it does, but you want these to brown, and you kind of want them to get nice and clear. So I'm going to pause real quick, and then I'll be back in just a flash. So here we go. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, my onions have been cooking here for about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm a mama, so I usually try to cook things fast, but you know your oven and your stovetop. So I just cooked for about 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5. But I can start seeing that these are browning, and so they're just perfect for where I want them to be. So the next thing I'm going to do, they're not completely clear, but they will. I'm going to go ahead and add my 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And I'm going to tell you that this smells really wonderful. I don't know if you're an onion lover or not like I am, but anytime onions are sauteing, to me, I love the smell of that. It's going to let that vinegar kind of simmer in. I'm going to reduce my heat just a little bit because that oil can get pretty hot in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and let this finish up as it is cooking around. So it's looking really, really good. So the next thing I'm wanting to do is I'm going to simmer this for just about another, 30 seconds or so. I can kind of tell, you can kind of see the steam. Whenever I first poured it on, that steam was just really heaping up pretty fast. It's kind of settled down now, and I can tell that this is kind of the time. I still see a little bit, it's not bad, to go ahead, and I'm going to add in my cherries. I went ahead and added in the full 1.25 cups of cherries. So here it goes. Add that in. And I'm going to let this simmer. Love cherries. And also, because of the fact that this is kind of thick, I'm going to add just a little bit of water. I'm going to add just about 1/4 cup of water to this, just to kind of help that sauce to cook down and let the mixture mix together really, really well. And kind of bring that to a nice slow simmer. It looks really good. I know it'll taste really good. Just so that you kind of know, I don't know if you guys are feeling this way too, but in Texas, we are not seeing the production. I'm going to turn my heat back up. We're not seeing the production of lots of light products out there. I used to be able to get like Lucky Leaf light cherry pie filling, and I'm not seeing that out there right now, and so I had to use the full. So this is 90 calories for 1/3 cup, I believe is what the can said. I'll go find one here in just a second and check that before we let you go. But if you have some of those light versions, that's gonna do you better, I think, than just using the full product. So you're going to have a couple more points probably, because this was the full dose of sugar here. So I'm just going to let this kind of cook. If I decide that I want it to be, right now it's pretty syrupy, so I may add another splash of water. I'm kind of one of those cooks that kind of cook, and I kind of see, and I kind of splash here and there, and so I apologize for that. If you cook like that, you kind of understand what I do. It's how my grandma cooked. I very seldomly, I mean, I'll have a recipe, but I don't follow it. Sometimes I'll add my own stuff in or take it out or whatever. But anyway, you want this to be a very stirrable consistency, okay? And that's kind of what we've got going here. And I want that temperature to go ahead and start melding all of those rich flavors together. The cherry pie filling and the balsamic vinegar and the onions and all of those things that are going to make this dish just really, really great. And so we're going to bring that on back up to a simmer. While we are working and waiting on that to kind of come up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come over here to these pork chops and talk to you while this is cooking about the pork chops. My pork chops, like I said earlier, I used just some ribeye. I'd never heard of that before, but ribeye pork chops, and I've cooked them for about 6 hours. And the only thing that I threw in here, I put these bare. You can still see that the pork chops have plenty of liquid in there. I'm going to add that to this sauce as well. But you just want to take those pork chops. I added pepper and salt, garlic salt, of course, you know me. And then I'm going to add this over here to this nice, I'm just adding this over here to my cherry mixture. I don't want to make you dizzy moving my camera around, but anyway, so I'm just adding these in. And we're going to let these simmer and kind of saute. I also did put about 1/4 cup of onions into this mixture as well, just to help season these chops. Pretty good. My husband would say, Cindy, it's well. But anyway, so there you go. Anyway, so I've seasoned that up really nicely. So these are kind of starting to boil. And, oh, I've got one last one in there. Come on. We need you too. And so I'm cooking this up really nicely together. And it's going to be a really nice complementing food. I think you'll really enjoy that. I'm going to take my ladle out. And I'm going to grab, while this is kind of simmering, I'm going to adjust my temperature. I don't want to get splashed. I'm going to just take some of this bottom moisture out here in a second. And I'm just going to add that to, because those drippings from those pork chops, they're going to be very good. And so I want to have that dripping in there. And so I'm going to add that into my pork chop mixture. I will tell you, it's very hard to do this one-handed. Just remember, everything here is live. And when I record it, of course, it's live, but I'm not editing and everything. This is just for you guys. And so I just hope it's a dish that you'll enjoy and love. So it isn't perfect, and I know that. Just give me some grace. Maybe I'll become professional later on. Anyway. Okay, so I've got a little bit of that in there, and I'm just going to bring this to a nice hot simmer. And this dish is really done. So when you got something that's very stuck together, I don't want to get burned. Anyway, we'll just let this cook. And I just bring this to a nice heat together. And so when it's time to serve this, what we'll do is we'll just take one of these pieces of pork chop, and we'll put it on a nice little plate, and then add some of this yumminess here, the cherry composite or compote to the top, and let that just kind of be rich and around that. And then a couple of other things that I like to cook with this. Baked potato would be great. You could do some potato fries in your air fryer or in your oven. I like to do that. I love to serve this with broccoli. And then just, of course, a great, for me, spinach salad, because I like the health benefits of spinach. But that's a great way to serve this dish. But you can add it's very versatile, and it's really, really great. And so I hope this is one that you'll keep and put in your recipe book, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great supper tonight, and if you try this one, let me know. Y'all take care. Also, I am trying to get likes and subscribes for this YouTube channel so that you don't miss anything. If you're interested in following some of my other recipes as I get closer to school, I'll probably start doing this as I'm just making my suppers and lunches, you know, during the school year. So if you'll like and subscribe, that way you won't miss anything that I have to show you or any recipes. Y'all have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.